to this episode of Harvey County Talk. I am your host, Lance Gormley.
And I'm your co-host, Sissy C.
Harvey County Talk is an HCD podcast.
Tell us what's happening in Harvey County.
Well, hello, everybody, and hello, Sissy. How are you today?
I'm good, Lance. How are you?
I'm okay. How was your week today? How was your week this week?
My week was good. My week was real good.
That's
it's
nice.
The sun's shining. The weather's nice. You know, life is good. I can't complain.
Well, I wish I could say I had a great week. I had an interesting week. Stressful. I have a Houdini dog that we adopted about 3 months ago from the Humane Society, and I love this dog. She's my Bailey.
She is a good dog.
But she just seems to want to be out and about, and
She's social.
Social. Loves the kids at Santa Fe. We're going to go get out of the house and run to the school and hang out with all the kids. And
Right.
so she got the law called on her
Oh, no.
this week and got taken to the pound.
So she is on record. She is a criminal dog.
Yeah, now we just need to make sure she's not a serial offender because that cost me like $35.
Oh, Lordy.
So I'm feeling it. But then again, to think of all the times that she got out, my neighbors called and people called and businesses called. And it was like at some point in time, somebody needed to find me.
Right.
You know, I know it sounds bad, but anyway.
But think of all the new friends she's made.
Oh, yeah. Loves
So at
all
least you know where
animals.
she'll go if she ever gets out again.
Yeah, straight to Santa Fe.
Right.
And they will make sure she gets called straight into the pound.
All right.
And I can go get her then at that point. But yeah, my week was interesting. Can't complain. It was a good week. But yeah, I love my dog. Just don't want her to get hurt out there in trouble. Now she's costing me money, and I got to figure out a way to keep her inside of a fence. So if you got any recommendations, feel free to comment. All right. Anyway, let's get down to business. And we got a lot of public notices, so I think we're going to share this one this week. Sissy,
All
what do we
right,
got?
Let's do it. So we've got the Harvey County Commission that meets Tuesday, 9 a.m. Courthouse, 800 North Main Street here in Newton. Harvey County Commission meets every Tuesday at 9 a.m., so be there.
Then we got Newton. The Newton City Commission will meet at City Hall this Tuesday at 7 p.m. Newton City Hall is located at 201 East 6th Street in Newton. The Newton City Commission meets every second and fourth Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m.
The North Newton City Council will also be meeting Monday at 7 p.m. North Newton City Hall is located at 2601 North Main Street in North Newton. The council meets the second Tuesday of every month at City Hall.
Heston will be up too. The Heston City Council will be meeting this Monday at 6 p.m. Heston City Hall is located at 115 East Smith Street in Heston. The Heston Council meets every second Monday of the month at 6 p.m.
The Halstead City Council will also be meeting on Monday at 7 at the Halstead City Hall, located at 303 North Main Street in Halstead. The Halstead City Council meets the second and fourth Mondays of the month at the City Hall.
And moving on to school board meetings for the week. Newton USD 373 School Board will be meeting Monday at 7 p.m. The school board meets at McKinley Administrative Center located at 308 East 1st Street in Newton. 373 School Board meets every second and fourth Monday of the month.
The Heston USD 460 School Board will also be meeting this Monday. The Heston School Board meets at their district office at Hobbs Football Stadium located at 150 North Ridge Road in Heston. The 460 School Board generally meets every second Monday, once per month, August through January, and twice per month. Twice per month in February through July, and those days being the second and fourth Mondays of each month.
And as tricky as that sounds, it's that tricky to read too, because when you go to their website, that's exactly what it says. And it's like, what? How does that? But okay.
Right.
Okay.
So,
we just want to get it out there so people know. So
that's right.
It'll change every 6 months.
Every 6 months. Well, hey,
I love it.
maybe reading it, or maybe listening and following the Heston School Board. Maybe I'll get it down.
Just maybe.
Just maybe. You never know.
Repetition is key.
That's
it's always
true.
repetition. Okay, so what is happening in Harvey County this week, Sissy? Give me some stuff. What have you been hearing? What have people been talking about?
Yes. Okay, so if you go to the Facebook, woo!
Oh, it's always
Woo!
good.
It is wild and lively.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So we have discussions about USD 373. We have discussions about wind energy. We have discussions about Joe Biden And what in the Chinese spy balloon is going on in Alaska?
It's not even a spy balloon anymore. Now it's okay. We're gonna get to that later. So do I get to pick? Which of the local issues that we get to talk about first?
Go for it.
Mini, miny, mo. I want to talk about the school board.
Okay.
The situation at the school board appears to me, because I've been paying attention while staying in my lane, right? You know, I'm a parent.
Are you sure you're in your lane?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm doing my best, keeping my comments to a minimum and just
Right.
reading and learning and understanding that this is just another situation that our community is having to face based on outside circumstances that we can't control.
Right.
And I'm just starting to become, you know what I want to talk about? Not so much the issue. I mean, we could delve in and we all have our personal opinion in regards to the issue or whatever, but I want to talk about the conduct of some of the people in our community that think that it's okay to behave a specific way or another way.
You mean emotional?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I say running on high emotions, if I've heard a lot of people say similar to what happened with the city that they want to do this. They want to close Walton down, let's say, or they want to do this or they want to do that. Right now, that's an option that
Right, but
they're
is there a
talking
lot
about.
of assuming going on? Has anybody seen any fact-based information on that, what their intention is?
Well, I think we're in the process, once again, of people getting the cart before the horse, where they are making assumptions because conversations and options are happening. And it's almost like we have to have these conversations. It has to come out on the table. We have to, we're running out of deficit. Right? Things are changing. We have to do something. We have reduction in class sizes. Now we're talking about the options that are present for us to be able to move forward. And people are already trying to knife each other down in the street over the deal. Just to open your mouth and have a conversation about some of the options that are there for us to talk about. And it's driving me crazy.
Right. And who has the bigger knife gets the most PR on Facebook, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's just start throwing out personal accusations against people.
Yeah.
Let's start demonizing their character. Hey,
Right.
you know what? I don't want to move on too quick to
No,
another
careful.
conversation that we're going to
Let's
have
pace
here
ourselves.
coming up
We've
here.
got a big one
But
today.
it seems like they are parallel of sorts. The same type of mentality and thinking is being exhibited.
You got
which
it.
is intolerance, and it's not taking the time to get the information and the facts that are there. They're there. It takes time and
That's
effort
right.
and self.
You got to put the work in to know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's okay to have an opinion. Let's just say this.
Absolutely.
Let's say this. Okay. Let's do a hypothetical. I know one of the things that seem to be a very, very hot button issue right now is the closure of Walton, or the consolidation, we'll call it that. So that seems to be a big deal. Okay. And understandably so. People, love that school, love that program. I think we all do. I don't think it's a matter of not loving it or not wanting it to exist or not wanting it to be beneficial for our
valuable.
children.
Sure.
But at the same time, when we're looking at the bigger picture, we have to make some decisions because our reduction in class sizes dictate that we have to.
That's right.
So if it's at an
Because
elementary
why?
school level, multiple factors. I think
Right.
we're in the process of picking that out. I mean, the easy low hanging fruit would be like, and I've heard people say, "Oh, people just don't like USD 373." Well, I'm not so sure that's actually
But why
the
don't they
case.
like it if that is a factor?
Well,
Right. But I think it's a business decision. I mean,
Yeah.
it is literally down to dollars and cents.
yes.
Unfortunately, our children are affected by funding. And if we have low or decreasing, an ongoing trend of decreased enrollment numbers, then the school board has no choice but to look at the financial pros and cons of that state of being.
Yeah.
Because it does change, it fluctuates, right? That's with everything.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's playing favorites here. At least that's not what I'm picking up on.
No, I don't. I mean, I think if we were to have a situation where we were to play favorites, we would probably see the end result of Walton being maintained at the expense of the greater.
But what about the kids that don't go to Walton? Are they getting any kind of project-based curriculum offered to them?
I think at a high school level, we do real
Okay.
good with our CTE program. But I will say this. I have a personal situation to throw out there as
Okay.
far as Walton is concerned. When my children were both of the age to go to Walton, I found it very attractive. I wanted my kids to go to Walton. I liked that program. I was sold. I tried to get my kids into Walton, and guess what didn't happen? They
Didn't
never
get
got
in.
to go to Walton. And it left me thinking, okay, well, how many other parents similar to my situation, children are not able to benefit from this program? And I'm not against that program, but what I would think as a parent in USD 373 is, man, I snapped my fingers and I said, it'd been really, really nice for my kids to be offered that program as well, but it wasn't an option.
Right.
So I guess I just like 75, 80% of the other parents who might potentially want their child in Walton to benefit from that program can't. So I'm a proponent, no matter what happens with this situation, that we take and model some of the things that we are successful with in Walton and put that into our schools, at other elementary
Absolutely.
schools.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and even in a middle school. I want to make Walton happen in all of USD 373.
Right,
And I think
because
it can happen.
If the project-based curriculum of Walton Rural Life Center is going gangbusters and it's successful and it's creating positive outcomes for the students that are going there, why would we not, as a county and a community, want all of that modeled in every one of our school locations?
Of some kind, and I think we can streamline it. I'm kind of
Absolutely.
a visionary, so of course I could put this grandiose idea out there and say this is where we want to be in 5 years, and it takes a lot of hands and a lot of players to get something like that accomplished. But I think we're perfectly capable of getting it done. And I hate to say it that now this conversation's being highlighted because we're going through growing pains. It's like, well, when you start to ask people what's with Walton, you have people that have personal experience from that. Their kids were there. They had a great experience. Well, is that any less than mine with Slate Creek? Because I love Slate Creek. I loved my children going to Slate Creek. I loved the teachers there. They were good. I loved the principal. I mean, love's a strong word, but I mean, even then, I was very happy to see that as the later part of my children's academic career there,
Right.
at Slate Creek in their elementary, years, that a friend from high school that I knew became the principal there. And I was elated because great woman. Shout out to Miss Alfaro. Awesome principal,
Right.
So I guess I'm building to the question of, let's just say hypothetically that we're in a situation where we have two options. One, we have to consolidate an elementary school because we can theoretically take kids from one elementary school and put them into the other elementary schools and not have the usage of that building, that space, the overhead.
Right.
I believe
The
I'm
cost.
correct. That's why we're having this debate
Right.
when it comes to Walton.
Correct.
So then we're looking at, well, if that's the option, then what elementary school would you prefer to close?
Right.
So if we're looking at it purely from the perspective that an elementary school has got to be consolidated because of this situation that none of us want, none of us like it, it is the way it is, and some tough decisions have to be made, especially for our long-term future,
Right.
then what is it going to be? Okay. And then second is that let's say that the school board does not make this tough decision and bows to public opinion, okay? And sometimes, in some cases, the minority over the majority to do what's best for the loud minority rather than what's best for the silent majority, which seems to happen in politics a lot.
In politics.
A lot. Sad to say, okay? But even then, I'm going to be more critical of the fact that the school board is making it to where I'm having to pay and other people are having to pay an exorbitant more amount of money where this should have taken place on a business perspective. So it's like a catch-22. We're
Right.
either we either have to do this and consolidate school, or they're responsible for spending money frivolously that they didn't have to otherwise, just so we could maintain a school that we didn't need.
Well, and I have a question. If Walton is the programs, the project-based curriculum, things like that, if those things are so unique that only that location can house or host those, then I think we need to look at that as an overall school district.
Well, I'm going to hit the bee's nest real hard right
Right.
now. Okay. I like the Walton program. I'm for the Walton program. But when we're looking at school buildings, when I went over and visited Walton here recently, I was a little like, oh, I'm just going to say it. I know I'm going to get swarmed with bees. It seems that it is in the of all of the elementary schools that we have in our community, it seems that that one needs the most help structurally. I asked some questions in my own mind when I was surprised to see how they had expanded some space out there for some students. And the first question that came into my mind was, sorry to say it, people, I think these kids here probably deserve better. I think we can do better. And I could be very, very I can say some things, but I'm not going to say some things. And it's ultimately not that I'm talking trash on the program itself. I'm talking into a situation of where we need to make as a school district, some real improvements on a brick and mortar of this building that's housing our children to do education. And, I guess you could make the argument that we can go throw up a steel building out here, air condition it, and put everybody in a big room, and they can still have an afforded education. But is that the best education for those individuals that are there? Does that service their needs?
Well, and we're talking about little children. This is a K through 4 school, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so as Kansans, we all know that we have some wild weather days. Excuse me. And if the facilities are not tornado proof, I think that should be a big priority to get that satisfied
and I can call
changed. And I have not been to Walton myself, so I'm not trying to pass judgment. I'm assuming that is what you're saying, that there needs to be some adjustments.
The facilities are a bit outdated
for the expansion. What needs to be solidified into part of maybe an add-on to the building.
Oh, they added on to it, just not in the way you would think they would traditionally.
Okay, well,
so that's another thing that just and once again, we have got to be able to be in a society in which I can make criticism of certain things that I see need to be improved without incurring the wrath of the cuckamoos on the Facebook.
Well, I think that a lot of people, when change is afoot, I think that people are generally fearful of maybe everything they don't understand about a situation. We tend to jump to conclusions, especially as parents. Our kids are important to us. And when you start, what I've noticed when these things start up on the Facebook, the emotions run high. And everybody is trying to get their say out there because they want to be validated, and they want to make sure that whoever is monitoring those comment threads or might run across those comment threads, perhaps decision makers, would see those. And I do not blame someone or fault someone for doing that. But what I do find fault with, and I might also get some bees after me for saying this, as a parent, I've learned that emotionalism clouds my judgment. And so, maybe I'll go to the school board meeting. My child goes to Newton 373. Maybe I'll go and listen, take some notes, and then stay off the Facebook for my discussions.
Well, and speaking of this, and I don't want to be an anti-Facebook person or anti-social media or anything, because I'm a firm believer that it is a tool that can be. It's a public space. It's a public square now.
Sure.
So if you're just letting, if you're not interjecting your belief that common sense and diplomacy and orderly, and if you're not putting in your 2 cents necessarily, then you're choosing to refrain from speaking out in the public space, and that's okay if that's what you would like to do. And I know that it gets some of the bottom feeders out there, but if you have anything that you would like to, anybody listening, if you have anything that you would like to chime in or say, or any comments that you'd like to make after hearing this, or kind of the discussion that we're having right now, and want to just spur more conversation, please do. That's what we're doing this for. I think we can do it in a diplomatic way, and I'm hopeful we can. It's kind of hard to go any farther on this conversation because this is all we really know.
That's right.
And so it's like, to me, the thing that just this week has been ringing the bell for me is how are these people talking to each other like this?
Right.
And where's the basis for what you have to say? And then who are you thinking about right now? Are you thinking about yourself, or are you thinking about the community as a whole? Because if you're somebody that's like, hey, I don't care, as long as my ship is not sinking, then I'm fine. You'll bail your own water. Well, that's not the way it works in a community.
That's right.
And until we realize that we are in a community and we need to get through this in unity, as I've tried to really point out when it comes to the city commission situation, where they are having to experience situations that are out of their control, just like school,
Right.
So Be kind, people, for crying out loud.
And
Be
don't
kind.
don't do all your interactions and your discussions on the Facebook.
Yeah, actually read something.
And social media in general. Get out there. Go to coffee. I've heard Norm's has great coffee.
Norm's has great coffee, and it's a great place to sit and meet and discuss and network, and it's an awesome place. I love Norm's Coffee. Actually. Okay, so speaking of behaviors,
Yes.
on issues that are relevant to Harvey County citizens that have to do with policy and politics. That's been quite the interesting little thing.
It has
I've seen this week the wind energy debate go heighten. And I want to give you a little bit of history on this because Harvey County Digital has been somewhat involved in this conversation. We actually had tried to get both pro and for and against wind energy individuals to come on the program.
And you're speaking of wind energy as in the
whether or not the Harvey County,
of the turbines,
whether or not
right?
Harvey County allows for farmers to sign leases with wind energy company to allow for them to have a windmill on their property to then profit,
Right.
so on, so on.
Gotcha.
So I find it interesting because when I'm sitting here looking at some of the things people are saying, I just think, man, that is like so off base and so out of this world. And I've been watching this conversation go on for a long time here.
Right.
Up until the point where we were trying to get that scheduled. It was about the time that we were going to have it. And then I guess I just said I wasn't fast enough on the gun because what happened was the decision was made. So what's the point in having an interview after the fact? So after I concluded what I believed to be the case, I put out a post, yes, me, on Harvey County Digital that said that the county commission had given wind energy a green light. In context saying that they had a meeting and now wind energy company has the ability to, if they operate within the parameters that are listed through their planning and zoning requirements along with the county commission and what they've said, they're allowed to operate within the county. It might be a very, very small, slim little portion, but they still can put up, if you can put up one windmill and they've given you the criteria, you've got the green light. Whether the company thinks that's profitable or not and chooses to do that in the future, that's neither here nor there. But I took a beating on that one. Oh yeah, I was for them. I must have been having dinner with wind energy people. I'm getting paid by the wind energy company.
That sounds very much like the Recall Randy campaign.
Well, I think I saw a hashtag Recall Lance until they figured out that I wasn't actually an elected official. And then maybe that stopped. But let's talk about conduct and behavior, why don't we? Because if I've sit here and I've watched this whole thing going on, I'm completely taken back by some behavior that people think that they can exhibit towards other individuals. And it's not who you'd think I would be talking about.
Well, do tell.
Oh, gosh, you don't want me to keep going.
Well, I just have to interject.
What are your thoughts? You just came here,
Yes.
right? So you were kind of out of the mix of this. You didn't see this conversation take place 4 months ago and come to a fever pitch at that point in time where people are wanting to, I even saw people, what I would consider, acting out in a way that would be accordance with disorderly conduct in a public meeting, and threatening and intimidating an elected official, which is illegal. Just because you think you should, because you're so mad about it, we all have to maintain. And I just could not believe what I was seeing. And I was kind of, I could see the pros and cons of both sides. I realized the difficult situation that some of these commissioners are put in. I've had many, 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 many conversations with people from all sides of it, and I've tried to remain somewhat silent, except for the fact of covering it, right?
Right.
But it's to the point where I have something to say, and it's like, grow up, behave yourself. Like, if we're going to have these conversations in my community and you want to come here and attach your name to my community, then you should conduct yourself in an orderly fashion, be diplomatic to have this conversation in a way in which is beneficial to all. Because just like there are people that think that that if you put up a windmill in Harvey County that we're going to, I don't know what, fall off the face of the earth. I don't mean, you can't create whatever.
There's a lot of fear, right?
Yes.
And fear is driving this emotional response.
But I would say irrational fear, but that's my opinion.
It does appear to be very one-sided and very slanderous, salacious, and defamatory. And I would caution those that are participating on social media and making these kinds of statements about another human being that lives in this community, that those things are forever because the internet doesn't have a delete button no matter how much we try to delete it. You could open yourself up in your emotionalism and your stance to get yourself in a little bit of a pickle. And I personally, and this is my personal opinion and mine alone, the Recall Randy campaign that's going on that I've seen on on the Facebook is absolutely disgusting because he's done nothing but be a commissioner.
Yeah.
And this is his job. and he has to go home at night and he has to go to the grocery store and he might be in line behind me and I might not even know it.
Well, look out, because if there's somebody that's that emotional about the whole situation, they might knock you and your kid over just to hit him on the back of the head.
Well, and I think
it's crazy.
I think if you look nationally and look outward out of Harvey County, we have had some political figures recently that have been attacked. Some have even been killed. And so the rhetoric is strong. And we get into these factions of belief systems, and our causes then can take on a life of their own. And I think we have a real responsibility not to hide behind our computer screens and our phones. And when we are so emotional on the Facebook, but we will not come to the meeting and say it face to face.
Well, and unless
then I think
they'll
we need to
show up.
reevaluate
They'll show
our
up to the meeting and
intentions.
try to disrupt the whole thing. Okay, over an issue that needs to be discussed in a logical and diplomatic way, and those that have been elected. So first off, recalling somebody is not as easy as people think it is. You don't put out a hashtag to recall somebody and then all of a sudden you're going to get a bunch of people sign a petition to recall them. There's specific criteria which has to be met. And so far, so good. I don't think Randy's met any of those, to be honest. And I'm sure, we'll incur some wrath over our opinions here, but it's fine. We're big.
I think it's
we're
just
big kids.
I think it's common sense what we're talking about.
Well, I just am to the point where I'm just not going to stand by and I'm going to use my voice and I'm going to say, this is ridiculous. I'm tired of this. We all need to grow up here. We need to just get to the point where, okay, I'm just going to talk about, I want to get into this wind energy debate. To heck with this, okay? I'm going to go for it. Okay.
Right.
Okay, you know what? We're going to come back.
We're going deep.
Should we take a break?
We should take a break and then reevaluate what our intention is.
Maybe I need to take a chill pill for a second and get my thoughts in order.
We have a lot to discuss.
Because I want to talk about the ridiculousness behind it's almost like, I was with you.
Right.
And then you lost me. Lost me because I don't want to attach myself to the craziness of the type of thing that you're trying to profess that then any rational, logical person can study, look at, and find out that that's not really the case, or that those statistics are highly altered, or that it's way, and the whole principle, we're going to get back. We will be right back. Welcome back to this episode of Harvey County Talk, where we talk about local matters that matter. This portion of the time, we're not going to go back and study the wind or talk about the wind energy thing, because I'm going to use maturity, which is that I started to get frustrated about that. And I wanted to say some things that I had to take a break and not say. And after letting cooler heads prevail, I'm just not going to say it. I think some people that are listening maybe just could, learn by my example.
I have just one more.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm not going to say anything. You get the last word.
Okay.
I'm leaving it at that.
I'm taking the last word. Okay. So, how tall are the wind turbines?
You can't ask me a question. Then I have to respond.
It may be a rhetorical question because we may not have that actual information. My thought is Harvey County may actually need the wind turbines if they're tall enough to take out the UFOs.
Oh yeah, that are flying
just
in from
randomly
Alaska.
flying in our airspace. It could be a win-win, right?
We don't even know what that is yet.
Right.
It's a UFO, and of course, if we see something flying in the sky that we can't quite make out, that would technically be a UFO.
It would be.
But for some reason, we associate UFOs with aliens. The aliens are coming from China to get us.
They're coming to take us away.
Oh my gosh. And they sent weather balloons just to tell us they were going to do it.
That had English writing on them. Did you see that?
Are you for real?
I am for real. That was on the Facebook and the Twitter.
I guess that's new information for me.
It is.
I did think it was somewhat interesting how now we can agree that it was, in fact, collecting data.
It was.
And that, I read, I got it here, read last night, like 1:30 in the morning. I missed it and it came up on my feed and it talked about how now, I guess, it was a program from China. They're spy balloons, and it wasn't just with us, it was everybody all over the globe.
Wow. So are you saying...
Not joking.
Wait a minute. Are you saying the conspiracy theorist Wonder Twins activate that now is the time for us to talk about that and go down that road? Or what are you saying?
Well, I want to cover something I think is somewhat interesting. I still find it troublesome to think that we just let the first balloon do everything that it needed to do, collect all the data it needed to collect, and then we decided to shoot it down. But we learned a lot about it.
We did?
Yeah, they said we did. We learned an amazing amount about a balloon by watching it float across our country. That's why we did it. It's so we could learn everything from it.
So then that's why they were so quick to shoot down the small car-sized gray
Well,
UFO
that posed
over.
a threat because it was flying at an altitude that was along with other air traffic.
Really?
So, yes. And they don't
Okay.
know what it is, supposedly, still to this day. They
But yet-
actually asked I know that they asked the pilot
Mm-hmm.
what possibly could be the propulsion mechanism, and he couldn't make it out. So I'm thinking, aliens are coming.
Aliens.
Yeah.
I think aliens would want wind turbines for Harvey County.
Well,
for the
and they-
renewable energy
Probably,
purposes.
actually, I don't have anything to say about that.
Let's move on.
Moving on.
We were going to talk about the Citizen of the Week.
Yeah,
right?
we can do that, but I'm into this. Okay, let's stop and talk about the
Local
Citizen of the
matters
Week.
that
Local matters that
matter.
matters. Okay, our Citizen of the Week is brought to you by The Hanging Leaf. The Hanging Leaf is located at 1722 North Main in Newton and has been locally owned and operated since day one. Go see Mike, Missy, and Maddie for all of your CBD needs. The Hanging Leaf. And our Citizen of the Week is
Tisha Green, the case manager for Salvation Army here in Newton. What a great program that provides food boxes for those in need. Go see Tisha for that need, and you may even find opportunities to give back yourself.
And I'll say this: I have at one point in time gone up there and received a food box, and I have at one point in time gone up there and volunteered to help package boxes for people.
Absolutely.
So interestingly enough, I do have a relationship with Tisha, and Sissy is responsible for picking out the Citizen of the Week, and
That's right.
And I'm humbled because Tisha's a great person, and she does so much more than that. And after the program, we talk. I mean, she's just a dynamic person. She deserves every bit of the Citizen of the Week.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
Great job, Tisha. You're awesome. You are Harvey County Digital Talk Citizen of the Week. At least you're in our book anyway.
That's right.
So back to the Martians.
Okay. Oh, Martians.
Oh. Aliens, angels. I don't know what you call them now. We
I
can go
don't know.
really deep
I
on
don't
this
know.
one. Really, really deep on this one.
And
I'll go biblical.
The Project Bluebeam.
Back to the conspiracy.
Oh,
You
Wonder
are a
Twin
conspiracy
powers
theorist.
activate.
I just want to set the standard here to say that Sissy is way more conspiracy theorist minded than myself.
It's only an avenue to do research to debunk many of them. But I do like a good conspiracy theory.
Well, there's nothing to debunk when you have wind energy people complaining about shadows that are casted by windmills when, like, we don't have clouds that blow across the sky in Kansas.
We do, and we
Dang old
have
shadows.
and things change rapidly with the wind here. The whole point of the wind energy concept. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
moving
So
on.
Martians. I really want to stick here.
Martians.
So I'm thinking. Okay. I want your biggest conspiracy theorist. Here's mine. I think that the weather balloons, supposedly, were
way.
whatever we call them. spy balloon.
Spy balloon.
It was actually a coordinated effort by the Chinese government to do just that, to spy. Okay. And they were able to effectively collect all the data that they wanted to collect, and nobody stopped them. So I would say they did a good job. A+ Chinese government on being a successful spy operation. We really appreciate that. And that somehow or another, we dropped the ball in our administration. I kind of like Marshall's approach that I saw him tweet something to the effect, because he is our senator,
right,
that says something to, it's a good thing they finally shot the balloon down, because I suggested that in the beginning.
That's right. Many voices said the same thing.
But no. We had so much to learn, right? But juxtaposed to the fact that what you just said about that we shot this other thing down because we had nothing to learn from that, of course, right? So with that, I'm going to say this. The second wave is coming.
Second wave.
And it's drones.
Drones.
It was a drone. It was flying on the same trajectory, in the same direction. When we know so far, who knows? Maybe just circling around the ocean, whatever.
Right.
But let's say that it's moving in the same direction. So I'm going to say that I think it's very possible that they're softening us up for an EMP attack through drone strike.
But we're supposed to believe that it's Martians.
Oh, the aliens.
Aliens.
We could go biblical. I could go biblical with you on interpretation of Latin, the Latin Vulgate, and Hebrew and Aramaic, and what an alien and an angel is, and all this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's for another show.
Because technically, an angel is a UFO. If I'm Cro-Magnon man, and that time period, and don't even know that looking up includes something.
Right. Hey, I think that was a movie on Netflix.
I like that.
Was it Don't Look Up or Look Up?
I actually, for that, I'll talk. Is Don't Look Up, and I really, really enjoyed that. And most people would think that's crazy, given the fact that they pinged it in like a anti-Trump or anti-conservative or whatever. But I thought it was very enlightening. I mean, if you look at it in a nonpartisan way, you can kind of flip out everything,
right?
And everybody's the same. You get this group mentality and group think and rah Republicans
I'm all for aliens.
and we're all Democrats, and so then we get into a frenzy and crazy things happen.
Right.
So I'm not for that.
Well, I'm all for aliens.
All that.
I think we have a lot to offer the alien species out there.
If I was an alien, I would fly on by.
And I
let them self-consume and then come back to another world that's regenerated.
Which
is probably how we all got here anyway.
Now talking biblical.
Hey, we're gonna we need to start a Facebook page.
Whoa, and we need to do like some really cool sound effects. When you post, it goes yowza. Okay.
I want something like, I want what sounds to be like a spaceship flying across like real fast, just like buzzing me whenever I say something classy on this program.
You say something classy?
Mm-hmm. I always say keep it classy.
Keep it.
You really can honestly, in a nice way, tell somebody something very clear, plain, and not have to deduce yourself down to like bully tactics.
Right.
Or
okay,
defamation.
So speaking of bully tactics, okay, so those out there that, and this is kind of a serious anecdote. So for those out there that think that aliens are demons, because they're out there, right?
There are people that believe this, you're telling me.
Absolutely. 100%.
That aliens are demons.
Yes, there really is not aliens. We are the only species in the galaxy. How can that be?
Oh, so you're one of the. Oh, you are just.
How can that be?
I'm not as conspiracy theorist minded as you.
Someone or a group of someones to personally find evidence-based information and post links on the Facebook on our page to prove to me once and for all that we humans are the only species in the galaxy. Please do that.
Well, technically, we're not the only species, sissy, because there are millions of different species that evolved and are here on Earth. So, you mean Homo sapien?
I mean beings.
Well, I mean...
Animals, insects, fish, birds, things like that.
We're getting into lucrative statements.
Those are
because
native
what
to
is an
Earth.
alien, though? An alien is something that is alien to something else is just something that is foreign. We've always used alien in the English and Latin as foreign. Okay? That's why we call people illegal immigrants or illegal aliens.
Yeah, we can't say that anymore.
They're not. I'm not trying to.
Right.
Whatever. I'm saying it. Okay. Forgive me for being a 40-year-old white male with a worldview that's conducive to not. I'm doing my best. Yeah.
The PC thing can go right out the window.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. What are we moving on to?
Okay.
Post the links about the aliens. Please,
Yeah, the
people.
alien deal is interesting. Okay, and then moving on. What is going on around here? I mean, it's one thing after another. I was sitting there looking and I was researching, and now I guess our sun's falling apart.
Our sun.
Yeah, I guess one of the largest chunks of our sun just decided to break off,
piece
which
of the
doesn't
sun
technically
broke off?
break off, but it produces what I'm going to say, because I'm an ignorant person, not a scientist, a solar flare
Oh, a
of
solar
epic
flare.
proportions.
We have those all the time, though.
But this one is actually like, oh my God. And
Like-
then not only that, but then the actual term that was used was, it has left scientists baffled.
Baffled.
Which means we've never seen this before.
Bamboozled.
In all of our knowledge of science from the beginning of man till now, we, I guess, have never really experienced something of that magnitude that we've seen come from the sun. Yes, we've seen many, get it? Many, M-A-N-Y-M-I-N-I. Okay, so
Okay.
we've seen many solar flares, but we haven't seen one of epic proportions such as this.
Epic proportions.
I say epic proportions.
I love where you're going with
when
this.
you leave scientists baffled, that's pretty hard to do.
Right. Was that two scientists that were sitting in the same room going,
No, that's
wow,
legitimate.
That's
Like,
amazing.
that's legitimate. Because I thought, oh my goodness, I'm getting victim of clickbait, and then
hate
turns
that
out,
when
no,
that
that was not the case at all. In fact, if people would like to, they can just simply Google largest. I would just Google the sun's
a piece
breaking
of the
apart.
sun fell off.
And it's going to pull it right up.
Holy Moses.
and
right?
here's this, nothing to see here. Nothing to
look
see
up.
here. Don't look up. Oh yeah, we were on that. Yeah,
Don't
that's
look
an
up.
awesome.
Okay, so seriously though.
The satire. I liked
Okay,
it. I liked it.
so-
You can pick things out, and it was really good. It kind of pointed out the ignorance of how we are going as a population society.
Right.
It just really just exploited what I would say to be the worst parts of us as humans socially as we evolve with this technological age.
Well, it is a perplexing conundrum that would represent for us human beings on the big blue marble, as my kiddo
You ever see the
calls
movie
it.
Idiocracy?
I have. I never looked at Gatorade the same since.
It's not Gatorade. What do they call it?
I have no idea. It looks like Gatorade to me.
That's like
I don't know.
Powerade or something.
Powerade.
I don't know what it was.
Right.
I don't know what it was. It was
Okay,
like
arcade
it's like,
branders, are you listening?
but it's got electrolytes.
Electrolytes.
H2O. H2O.
Right. Okay, so anyway.
All right.
Okay,
You
so
gotta
if,
see the movie,
if a
Idiocracy.
big piece of the sun fell off,
But it doesn't technically fall off.
Where
it
does it
self-consumes. It self-consumes.
wouldn't it make it really hot and electronics not work? I mean, talking about conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah,
That's just
As
one
like
I've
a
never
precursor
studied. But,
to an EMP. Isn't it
yeah,
interesting
I
that when
mean,
you take like a
is
solar
that
flare?
why Turkey is falling apart? I mean,
I
goodness
don't
Lord.
know. How
I
many
mean,
people? There were so many people that died
it's
in
really
an
a
earthquake.
tragedy, but the big gaping crevasse that has broken apart. I mean, the land is just. Google that, folks. That will knock your socks off. What Turkey's dealing with.
And all of this we can barely do anything about except for look up.
Well, yeah, look up.
Look up.
But just don't look up too long without your sunglasses on. Isn't that what they say?
Oh, I'm
Special
looking.
glasses?
I was going faith on you.
Oh, fake.
Like,
Oh,
don't look up. Look up. Like if you keep your eyes towards
Yeah.
the heavens, and you know that that whole thing.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure in my
All
faith.
right.
Okay. So let's just start to wrap this shindig up. One other thing we've been doing on the program, because we love to promote our local businesses, is we have a local eatery of the week, and Sissy is responsible for that.
That's
so,
right.
Sissy, who is the local eatery of the week?
Well, last week I was able to get away with a very special person for a lunch out, which is rare. And we went to the Bread Basket. And the Bread Basket is here in Newton. It located 219 North Main Street near Old Mill. And I was looking forward to soup and salad and beer ox. But when I went in, I was pleasantly surprised. They had lasagna and garlic bread. And they have a whole bunch of new plate options that rotate throughout the week. So check them out. And they have half portions for those of us who are on portion control, which is nice.
Yeah.
And I am telling you, that was probably like the second best lasagna I've ever eaten because, my mom's lasagna is better.
Of course. Mom's anything is better.
That's right.
That's right. Always.
But go check Bread Basket out. Give them some love.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Every time I drive by there, that place is hopping. It's been around since I can remember, and it has some of the best food. Most of the time, I'll pick that place to eat if I'm going to a late lunch.
There you go.
And a lot of it just has to do with the ability I get to enjoy that food, and I get to enjoy the atmosphere without all the people.
And while I was waiting in line for my lasagna, I got to Google all the pies and the desserts in the case, but I could not have any. So poor me, I vegged out on lasagna, and I was so glad I did.
Lasagna's good. I'll take some lasagna. Okay, so one last thing to remember. Make sure and get out and get to a meeting this week because it's the second and the fourth weeks of the month is when the majority of this action takes place.
That's right.
And it seems like there's a lot of people that would like to have their voice heard on various issues throughout Harvey County that we're talking about. So show up to a meeting.
Yep.
Listen, learn, engage, and then just be diplomatic.
Right,
And
and
realize
understand
that,
that our
yeah.
elected officials sometimes don't take the time to look at the Facebook. They like to see our smiles and our welcoming faces live at the meetings for our Q&A forums. It's the best way to meet your community members. It's the best way to introduce yourself to your elected officials and for them to get to know you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, remember, you can always reach out, send us a message, or let us know who you think should be the Harvey County Citizen of the Week.
Or where you might suggest people eat.
Make sure and reach out to either Sissy or me.
And let us know what you're thinking.
Enjoy your week, everybody. We'll see you next week.